Hey everybody, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. So just doing a quick video here. It's sort of like a teaser for our next webinar. We do our webinars every month. Last month we did it on how to get studies. Next month, June 28th, 2016 at 12 p.m. Pacific time, we will be doing a webinar, half an hour long. Sometimes an hour. If you leave QA, it could be an hour, on how to find PIs, principal investigators, or sub-investigators for your research clinic, right? So I have my business partner, Chris Sauber, on the other end.
Hey, everybody.
Chris runs several sites and also is my business partner on the consulting side of things. So we don't just recruit PIs for our own sites because it's a never-ending process. You always need more specialists and new sub-Is and eventually new PIs. But we do it through our consulting business for our clients. So we have lots of day-to-day experience doing this, and this is in response to lots of viewers' questions on specific details, as specific as possible. So in this little teaser, we're kind of going to give the bullet points, and then during the webinar, we're going to go through in greater detail because we have more time. So, hello, Chris. How's it going?
It's very beautiful here in San Bernardino.
Very nice. So, let's start with how to find PIs, okay? The first way to do it is leverage your existing PIs database of colleagues, right? This is the easiest way and oftentimes the most effective. So you can go ask your PI, hey, Jason, do you have any colleagues that are interested in being sub-Is for us? We have this study coming up. You're a psychiatrist. We need an OBGYN for this procedure, or we need an OBGYN to actually be the PI. So can you help us out? And oftentimes that's the first source to go to, and oftentimes it's the best source. So oftentimes they'll say, yes, let me give them a call, and literally within 2 minutes it's done. It happened recently for one of our clients. We needed a brain surgeon, right? Our PI is at this particular site, our PI is a general surgeon, and we had a need for one of our studies for a sub-investigator to be the brain surgeon. There was like a procedure that required a brain surgeon's expertise, and I didn't know any brain surgeons. I'm not going to find any on Craigslist, most likely, right? So I asked this PI and literally opened his phone, called the guy. The guy answered, said, do you want to do this? Do you want to be a sub-I for this trial? Blah, blah, blah. 2 minutes later, yes, it's done. Send your coordinator to my office to get my license and my CV, and I'm your sub-I. That easy, right? Sometimes we don't think that the best solution is right under our noses. What do you have to say about this, Chris?
Yes, but I would not say that's always the norm.
Okay.
You have to sometimes pursue other venues, which
correct. I wish it was always that easy, but it's not.
No, unfortunately.
So, yeah. So what are some other options? Give us one more thing.
Well, advertising, of course. Just like searching for patients, sometimes advertising works for finding a PI.
Yep. And so just to give a little specifics on that, so we will post to many different websites. So we actually have some we're working on right now. I'm not going to talk about it because we have to see whether they're effective or not, but we're always testing at our consulting firm. But one of the ways that does work and is effective is Craigslist. Believe it or not, I used to think Craigslist would never work to get PIs. It does work. Now, a lot of it depends on your current market. In some markets, Craigslist is saturated with ads for doctors, but in others it's not. And in those markets, you're more likely to get a good candidate. Now, be careful with Craigslist because you could get doctors that have their license revoked or recently lost their license, right? So you got to do background checks to make sure. And every state has a website. Is it at the state level or at the federal level where you can check someone's
State.
medical
It's
state?
state. Yep.
Yes. Every state has its own database. This is public information where you can search on that particular doctor and see if his license is in good standing or her license is in good standing and whether they have any marks against them. And this is important. Obviously, you need a PI with a valid license to be a PI, but sometimes sponsors will actually look at the past history of a physician for certain trials, specifically controlled substance trials. And even if the doctor does have an active license, if they have a checkered past as far as, especially with controlled substances or anything else of that nature, they will not allow you to use that PI for the study.
Mhm.
We had an example where we did not do a background check because the doctor had his license for 20 years. He was in good standing. I didn't think there was a need to do a background check. We applied for a study. We almost got it. Then the sponsor called me and said, "Well, your doctor, uh, he didn't pass our background check," and they didn't give details. So when we investigated, we found out it was an IRS related issue. So sometimes they're really picky about it. So it doesn't have to be uh, anything involving controlled substances. It could be like tax issues, anything. So be careful with that. Always do your background checks. What do you have to say, Chris?
Yeah, really nothing further. Other than additionally, your responses won't always be necessarily doctors either. Uh, People tend to not read ads thoroughly, so you'll get a lot of junk.
A lot of the MDs from other countries that are not
Hmm.
licensed to practice here. So be
Exactly.
careful. But Craigslist is free. Okay, it's free, and
Well,
you can
no,
pay
no,
for
no.
it also.
This particular ad though, you'd want to pay for.
Okay, this one. So I mean, it's inexpensive. It's $50, right?
Yeah, it depends on the area again, and how saturated Craigslist is.
Okay,
The more often it's used, the more expensive it's going to be. The most I've seen $75 an ad.
75. Okay, yeah. And the lowest I've seen was like 25.
Yep,
Uh,
that's correct.
Depending on the market, some of the smaller markets will charge less, and some of the bigger markets like LA, San Francisco, Miami, New
Exactly.
York typically charge more. All right. One more. We want to give them one more teaser before June 28th, 2016 webinar at 12 p.m. Pacific time. If
Hmm.
you want to get the link for that webinar, sign up to my email list now. Go to the clinicaltrialsguru.com, subscribe to my email list, and I will send an email out a week prior to the webinar and then a day prior to the webinar. Right. So, one more thing, Chris. One more strategy to get PIs.
One more strategy, huh? Well, so we've discussed colleagues and
Yep.
advertising.
Yep.
Um, well, there's always door to door.
Yes. So let's leave them with that one. We've had mixed success door knocking. You always meet, if you're lucky, you always meet a physician at some point. So the problem with most people is they give up too soon because door knocking is a lot of work. Um, However, door knocking is a great way to get in front of the doctor because unlike cold calling, they can't hang up on you when you go door knocking, right? Worst thing that can happen is you get a gatekeeper, which is usually the receptionist. So you kind of have to win them over. I know some people that bring them Starbucks gift cards or donuts. We've done the cookie thing from Costco, right? We've brought the
Hmm.
whole receptionist staff like a $12 box of cookies from Costco, and they
That'll
open.
buy you about 5 minutes with the doctor.
Yeah, it will
Typically.
buy you 5 minutes with the doctor, but they open the door like in a minute. They said, you know what? Okay, he's available right now, but you only have 5 minutes. Hey, that's all we need. Okay, and although that doctor didn't end up referring patients for us, uh, had we had more studies that were appropriate for him, it would have worked. It would have worked well, I think, long in the long term. And he's someone we can always go back to, right?
Yep. Yep.
So we'll leave him with that. and those are good teasers for our next webinar. Right, June 28th, 2016, at noon Pacific time. That's 3 Eastern time. Some of you guys need to figure out how these time zones work. Noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, sort of an inside joke. Chris gets it.
I
Uh,
certainly do.
Subscribe to the email list, all right? theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you, Chris. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
everyone, for watching. theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Take care.
Bye bye.